Hi,
Hi, Eve. How are you today?
I'm good. I saw you saw the news.
I did see the news. I did see the news.
So, for people who are not aware, which you would have had to been living under a rock, Amanda and Kyle are no more.
Correct.
How are you feeling about this breakup?
You know what? I honestly am feeling really good about it. I mean, again, I feel bad for them, but I think this was a long time coming. Any man who attempts to become a DJ at the age of what, like 42? Is that how old he is now?
I mean, like attempts to become a DJ, period.
Fair, yeah, really. It's like
That
off of
was
his head.
not a DJ before, right? Like, this
Correct.
isn't a second career in life or shouldn't be for anybody.
Correct. 100% agree. Yeah, like literally, unless you were like David Guetta, who is like
Right.
still, selling out venues at the age of like 55 or also however old he is, like off with his head. You know what I mean? It's just like, come on.
No, no, thank you.
No,
I
thank you.
also I want to know. So I feel like, did you see the TikTok? I forget who it was. I think it was oh, I'm gonna blank on her name. The girl who was like, "What do DJs do? Do they just like press a button
Oh,
and then I think it was like John Summit and Disco Lines like both like riffed off of it
yeah.
because it was like no one knows what DJs do. Seriously though, in this day and age with AI the way it is, what do they do? You're more in the like disco not DJ scene.
Well, okay. As somebody who does love EDM, I actually do think like it does take a lot of work. I mean, again, this is before like AI and DJing. I'm not sure how that works now, but it actually I think does take a lot of work. That being said, is it a career path that I would want my husband to follow? Absolutely not. Especially at this stage in the game. Like it's not like this is somebody who's been working at this forever and ever and like now
No.
finally his like DJ career is taking off like lots of these other guys you see. Like this is literally a straight up midlife crisis. Like that let's just call it what it is. Like that's what
Well,
this is.
I think it's bluntly just an excuse for him to be able to still flirt with girls and get away with it. Like
Probably.
that's my theory. And I think that's why he made Loverboy as well, because Loverboy is primarily being bought by women. And I think the big fail here was that women don't like Kyle, right? So like you're branding a drink that's effectively a seltzer that women are going to drink at the pool, women who watch Summer House, watch Bravo are going to buy into, but like you got to be a Jesse or a West or even a Craig, honestly. You can't be a Kyle and be like,
Although women hate all of them now too, to be
women
honest.
hate all of them, but
It's
on the
bad on
spectrum,
Bravo.
like on the spectrum.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty bad on Bravo right now. But that being said, yeah, I mean, I just think that like their marriage to me has seemed doomed for so long. I would never marry somebody who cheated on me. That's just me. Again, I applaud those that can work through those type of problems, but I couldn't do it. I would never trust him. I just think that especially in that episode when Amanda was like, I don't know if I want to have kids. That's when
Right,
I knew that it was done because I was like, no, no, no.
right.
It's not that she doesn't want to have kids. We know Amanda wants to have
He
kids.
doesn't
It's
want to
that
have kids with you.
correct. She doesn't want to have kids with Kyle Cooke.
Correct.
Okay. And who the fuck would? Okay. Like,
No.
let's be honest. Like, are you
You
for
think that
real?
guy's getting up at 3 a.m. to bottle feed and change diapers? Absolutely
No,
not.
because
He's
he's
not
at a fan's
home.
house. He's at a fan's house at 3 a.m. That's what he's doing.
I,
So,
wait, I have to pause and say this because I feel so bad for Amanda. And
yeah,
I want to preface all of this by saying, like, we're talking shit, but truly, I understand staying in a relationship past its expiration date.
for sure.
And I understand not knowing how to leave. And I especially understand, and we'll get into this later, but I especially understand getting into a relationship at a young age and then it reaching an expiration date. And you're kind of like, one of the things that I think was the demise of their relationship, in my opinion, is that Amanda grew. Like, if you look at her in season one versus now, she had a complete growth trajectory. Kyle didn't change. And so, had she not grown and she been in the same place, they might have made it. But she has transformed into a completely different person. And it's part of the reason I always say, I don't know if I believe in marriage because I don't know who I'm going to be in 10 years. And I hope me and my partner both grow and in a way that's compatible. But who the hell knows how he's going to grow, how I'm going to grow, and if those two trajectories align.
Totally. I mean, I think that's a massive just problem with men and women right now in general. Is like women are just continuing to evolve and men are stuck. And men are unable to meet us where we're at. We don't need to get into that whole thing because I mean the whole world is talking about this now, but it's just like that's the problem. We're
Yeah.
here and like they're still just streamlining, you know, like there is no growth.
And I think that
So
there's a lot of pressure on women to stay in relationships and make it work and do the work and stick it out. And there's still a stigma on, oh, you left, you got divorced, like what have you. And I hate that. There
yeah,
shouldn't be a stigma on divorce anymore. Just the same way, like, why should women be required to make it work when the guy's at a fucking fan 6 a.m.? Like, in what world should the woman be required? Like, it's not the 1950s.
no, no,
She's
it's
not
not.
required to stick this out. They
No,
don't have kids.
absolutely not. I mean, yeah, like you said, I obviously do feel really bad for her because listen, and him too. I mean, I think most people go into marriage thinking that this is going to last forever and ever and this is your person. And it sucks coming to the realization that it is not, you know, especially when you have planned a legitimate future with someone. So, I do feel terrible for her. Um I think there's a lot of things that you know we can talk about with this, but I think one of the things that I find so interesting, and I see a pattern with especially like Kyle and Amanda too, is that and my friends who've gotten divorced is that they were together for a significant amount of time before they got married,
Yep.
and then I think they were married for what 4 years,
Give or
which is
take.
actually
Yeah.
like a decent amount of time. I
Sure.
think what I've seen in a pattern with my friends who've gotten divorced, and these are all people under the age of 40, is most of the time when they've gotten married, they've gotten divorced within literally like a year and a half of being married, which is crazy because they have all been together or had all
For
been
a long
together
time.
for
Right.
so long before they got married. Like one of my friends was like 5 or 6 years, another one was like 8 years. I knew somebody that was with somebody for 9 years before they got married, and they lasted a year in marriage. And I'm
Right.
just like, how does that happen?
I think that when you get married, even if the relationship doesn't change, I think two things. I think they go into the marriage out of a place of pressure, out of a
Yeah.
place of we've been together forever. Everyone's asking, it's the next step. We have to take it. Right. And it's almost like it's almost harder to break up without having gotten married. Right. Because it's like we've done 9 years. We've got to the next step is marriage. We're not getting divorced now. We've put our getting breaking up now. We've put all this effort into it. Whereas if they get married and then get divorced, it's like, well, we tried.
Yeah.
Like we did that final thing. Which brings me to what's most fascinating to me about this. And I know Amanda's done a couple interviews about it, but the fact that she didn't get a prenup, and I don't know if you watched all the episodes leading up to their wedding and the discussions about the prenup. I think I don't blame her for this. I think the biggest misconception that people have about prenups is that if they don't have a prenup, they will have choice or some kind of decision making power in how the inevitable or potential divorce or breakup unfolds. And I will scream this till the cows come home. If you don't have a prenup, you still have one based on the laws of the state in which you reside. Like there are laws in place. So you can either, when you're in a good, loving place, agree how you want things to go down, or you can say, don't care, and the state's got a decision for how they're going to go down, and you don't have a choice. Like that's the state law on the matter. And I don't think people look into that enough. They think, well, if I'm planning a prenup, I'm looking at my marriage not being successful. And it's like, would you drive without car insurance? No. That doesn't mean
Exactly.
that doesn't mean you're going to get in a car wreck, but
Yeah.
don't you want to be protected if someone hits you? Like you may not think this marriage is going to end, but what happens if your husband goes and cheats on you and leaves you? You don't have
Exactly.
a choice in that. He may leave you. And
Right.
if he leaves you, do you want it to be up to the state to decide what happens, or agreement you came to when you were in a loving place? Because it's one or the other. There's
No,
not a
100%.
there's not like a discussion that's happening in the throes of divorce. Like it's one
Yeah,
of the
I just think that it's so naive and silly, women these days who say, I'm not signing a prenup. Like, I'm just like, where are you from? Like, what are you talking about? Like,
Was that
you
a
have to.
southern dig?
Oh, yeah, I keep on forgetting that. Whatever. But yeah, I mean, but here's the thing. I just think that, like, I even have friends that are, some of them are like, I would never sign a prenup. And I'm like, that's a
Okay.
really stupid thing to
Stupid way to
say
go into marriage.
because prenups can actually protect you, and prenups can actually, you can actually come out on top if you sign a good prenup. And like, I think people think like just because you sign a prenup, you don't have to sign what's given to you. Prenups can
No.
be negotiated. And as someone whose mother is a lawyer, okay, never sign anything without somebody else looking it over for you first, okay? You have someone else look it over, you negotiate the terms, you make
Yeah.
it beneficial for you, and then you
Right.
sign it. You know,
Right.
it's like, guys.
Well, and here's the other thing that people forget is, okay, so say you don't sign a prenup, right? Say you get married, you can still sign a postnup. It's not as
Totally.
effective as a prenup, but the idea that I would say I am going to allow the state, literally a judge, to decide what's going to happen to something I've spent 10 years of my life in, a judge who's going to see a clip of it over, a couple months, a couple hours here or there, and has no idea what's gone on. And is also, I'm going to pay lawyers to hash this out. Do you know how expensive that is to have lawyers hash out a divorce settlement? It's a
Mm-hmm.
lot cheaper to have it done on the front end. A lot fucking cheaper. And money's not
Yep.
easy to buy when you're going through a divorce.
Yep.
It's
Also, I mean, again, I think if like somebody hands you a prenup and like the terms of that prenup are really like shitty and cheap and whatever, okay, like shitty frugal prenup, shitty frugal dude or person, shitty frugal marriage. Like then you don't marry that person.
right.
Honestly,
Then you have
prenups can be
information.
totally. Prenups can be really telling, I think. It's like if somebody hands you a really shitty, like awful prenup with really bad terms, I'd be like, this ain't for me. Like, sorry, I'm not. Then I would be like, I'm not signing shit. And like, also, you shouldn't marry that person. Like, you know what I mean?
Correct. Well, and I also wonder sometimes when I don't think women, and I've made a couple of TikToks recently about women, or not women, but people getting terminated, right? And the different things that they should do. And the amount of people that have responded to me and been like, I didn't know you could do that. Mostly women. Women don't realize that literally everything in life can be negotiated. Men have been doing it for centuries. Like,
Totally.
they've never been offered something and said, cool, I'll take it. They don't get offered a salary and say, yeah, I'll take that salary. No, they negotiate it to what they want because men have been told that they're worth more. They've been told that they have value. They've been told that they're owed these things. And we've never been given that confidence. And so it's almost like if we were to ever bring up a prenup, so many women will say, well, I don't have anything of value. I'm not rich. And it's like, that doesn't matter. What are you going to do within the, say, 10 years of your marriage? First of all, what do you think your career trajectory is going to be like? You have no idea. Second of all, what debts is your husband going to take on? What happens if your husband suddenly gets a gambling addiction? What happens if your husband suddenly becomes an addict and has to go to rehab? Like, again, it comes back to the insurance piece. You might be able to control yourself, but you can't control another person. And so
Totally.
I'm not going out and driving without car insurance on the mistaken belief that everyone else is a perfect driver. They're not.
Right. No, totally. I literally look at it as just a way to protect yourself. And I wish that more women would educate themselves on this matter because I think it's super important. I'm not saying like everyone has to have a prenup, but I'm just saying if it's something that is important to either party,
Yeah.
like think about it, you know? I don't know.
At least consider it, have the discussion. It's another reason that I think talking about the amount of women I know who have gotten married and haven't discussed finances. And I'm
Mm,
like, I've said to my boyfriend multiple times, there's no way we're getting engaged until I know exactly how much money you have in retirement, how much money you have in all your accounts, and I'll show you all mine. And it's not because I plan on spending that money, it's because I want to know where we're at and what we want to do with it and how we save and how much money do you put away every month and what's important to you. Is it a percentage or a certain dollar amount? And do you max out your 4, you know what I mean? Like, those are conversations that need to be had because if you don't have them, you're walking into a marriage in the dark. And unfortunately, once you're married, your debts are combined. Your finances are combined. Yes, you can
Yeah,
have joint accounts and there are other measures you can take, but at the end of the day, a judge can rule in a lot of different ways that can screw you over.
totally. Totally. Yeah. And I think having financial transparency is one of those things that is important, especially going into a marriage, especially. Um, yeah, I mean, it's funny because from lots of like the articles I've read and like podcasts I've listened to and whatever, one of the leading causes of divorce is, of course, like financial issues. Um, and
Yep.
that just goes to show you that it's because people just don't talk about it. I don't necessarily think that with my friends that have gotten divorced, that's been the reason for the
Mhm.
divorces. I think it's more of them, at least the trend that I've seen is kind of what we talked about a little bit before, but just people wanting different things, like going
Yeah.
into marriage and, a year later you realize I want to live here and the other person's like I want to live there, or the other person is like I want to have kids and the other one's like, well, I don't.
Right.
And things like that. It's more just like differences and ultimately, yeah, at the end of the day just wanting very different things, which again, I would have thought that you would have talked about in the 9+ years you dated before you got married, but hey, whatever.
Well, and
Um,
I've also found a huge trend amongst men is they don't have these conversations amongst themselves. They
no,
don't like when guys talk with each other, it's all surface level. The amount of times,
totally.
like, the memes, the jokes about like the guys come back from a bachelor trip and you ask the guys, like, oh, what's going on with XYZ friend? And he's like, I don't know. We didn't talk about any of that. And you're
Right.
like, he's getting a divorce. Why? And he's like, I don't know. We didn't bring it up. And it's like, what do you mean? That would have been the first question out of my mouth.
Of course. Of course. And that's something that I think is just so shocking is like women, we talk about so much stuff and we talk about things like really in depth and like
Yeah.
detailed.
Yeah.
And we get very emotional and like whatever. And men just don't. And I don't know if it's because again, like their levels of emotional intelligence are just lower than ours, and I mean that with no disrespect. I
Yeah.
just think like they're just
Shocking you
not
for not being mean.
I'm not no, I'm not trying to be mean when I say that. I think it's just a fact, right? Like men just aren't as emotionally intelligent as women, and I don't know if it's that they can't get there or they don't want to get there because it's way easier to have surface level conversations than it is to have deep,
Sure.
meaningful, intense ones, right? Like,
I don't think that they're supported by society yet to go there. Like, I think
mm,
we're moving in that direction, but I think
yeah,
right now they still get made fun of for it. They still like a man being in touch with their feelings is still kind of a joke. Like, we haven't fully, I do agree with the idea that we can't fully be equal to men until we allow them to take up some feminine space. Does that make sense?
yeah,
Like you can't have 50-50 if we're taking up all the feminine space and they're taking up all the masculine space. And at no point are we allowing them to have feelings and emotions and be caretakers and take that seriously. Right. And until we can do that, then we're not going to be given the same places in the boardroom. I mean, there's a more nuanced way of saying that, but like in
sure,
broad strokes. Right. Um, and I think we're getting there. I think we're better, but it's still an uphill battle regularly. And I think, unfortunately, it's an uphill battle at the detriment of a woman because women not having the same career trajectory and the same monetary options hurts us a lot more than a man not in touch with his feelings. Like, worst thing that's going to happen to him is his girlfriend might break up with him at some point. Like he's not going to max out his retirement, not going to accomplish everything he wants to in his career because of his sex. A woman might.
100%.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I completely agree with that.
where do
It's
you
an
think
interesting
Amanda goes from here?
Well, honestly, I am curious, especially from your perspective, what does happen with the whole Loverboy thing because Loverboy is apparently a business that is in debt. So I'm
Yes.
assuming she's going to obviously have to take, I don't know if she has a 50% stake in the business or what that is, but I'm assuming she's probably going to have to take some of that on, or like, I'm not sure how that works, but
Yeah.
that's going to fuck her
So
over ultimately.
I think it's a little more, obviously I don't know all the financial details, but I think there's a
Right.
couple of layers here. The first is that all of their loans would have been with investors, right? So
Sure.
the question is, was Kyle signing on behalf of himself or on behalf of an LLC or whatever his company name was, right?
Right.
Was he signing as the agent for Loverboy or was he putting any of his own personal money, Kyle Cooke, and personal whatever, at risk? My guess is early on he was putting some of his personal stuff
Yeah.
at risk. because I think he talks about that in the episodes, right? Because he didn't have a ton
Yeah.
of investors.
Yeah.
So anything that he, and again, there's many more details to this, but just in broad brushstrokes, anything that he personally like put his name on early on while they were married, yeah, that would be debt. That would be marital debt because they're married and he took out a loan or whatever. Now, I'm guessing the large amount of debts that they're in now are attributed to the LLC, which I don't know what percentage Amanda is a part of it, and
Right.
also what percentage the investors are a part of it, right? So that's
Right.
the other thing is, while they are, I mean, I think tabloids are saying like 4 million, the company's like 4 million in debt, they're also evaluated at like multi-millions.
Sure.
So there's a tipping point, right? Like it's not, the debt would matter if they were dissolving today. If they're
Right.
dissolving today, then the evaluation only matters based on how much they sell, and the debt only matters based on what's trying to be recouped. But money's consistently in flux, right?
Totally.
So
Yeah. Right.
I'm not so worried about the debt as it stands. What I am worried about is Amanda probably wants to get the hell out of Loverboy, is my guess.
Right.
I don't know. And
That
then
Yeah, that was going
he's
to be my
got to,
next point. Is like, well, I mean, she obviously isn't going to want to still work for Loverboy if they're going through a divorce. Like, and I'm assuming up until now she has still been currently employed by Loverboy. I know that she's doing Loverboy and her bathing suit line, but
right,
pretty sure she does all the graphic design and like the marketing and all of that for Loverboy, right? Or she was. I mean, I
right,
think that was her role
for sure.
previously.
For sure.
So,
And I'm sure she has some kind of equity
of
in,
course,
I mean,
yeah,
I don't think they're a public company, so I don't think that there'd be actual stocks, but I'm sure she has some like RSUs or whatever
for
in,
sure.
if they were to become public.
Yeah.
Um, my guess is she wants out. I don't know that
Yeah.
for a fact, but my guess is she wants to wipe her hands clean. What I
Yep.
think is really interesting is that New York and New Jersey, which I'm assuming the divorce will be in New York, but it could be New Jersey based on their residency, um, is that they're equitable division states, which effectively means that it's not a 50-50 split. It's not like the debt in Loverboy is 4 million and 2 million's Amanda's and 2 million's Kyle's. The
Right.
judge basically gets to say, you're owed this based on what he thinks equitable. And if he thinks, for example, I'm saying he, it could be a female judge. Don't mean to gender the judge. But if he said, Kyle's put 70% of the work and effort into Loverboy, which I would say probably is true over
Probably.
again, right? He should therefore get 70% of the valuation and 70% of the debt, right? And then
Right.
looking at what's left, how much of that debt was actually assumed by Kyle individually as a part of the marriage versus how much by investors versus how much has Amanda, taken on herself in her role? Was she paid a salary? I don't know. Like, there's a whole bunch of layers
Yeah.
to it. But my
Yeah.
guess is she wants to wipe her hands clean. And my guess is she probably will be able to, um, because of all of those layers and investors and the fact that the company's not being sold today. However, what I do think is fascinating is the impact this has had on her own career trajectory, because she effectively left her marketing job to do marketing for Loverboy. Now, is it in a similar field? Sure.
Yeah.
Did she take in some ways it's like a woman who takes a pause when they get pregnant, right? They take like basically a pause in their own career trajectory. Was it the direction she wanted to go? I don't know what she was doing marketing for before. I don't know if it was in the food and beverage industry. I don't know if this is going to help her. I mean, obviously she's on Summer House. She's, a reality star, et cetera, et cetera. She's going to be fine. But like, imagining these were real people that we knew, not people on a TV show, right? We
Yeah.
had friends getting divorced, and one owned a business and his wife was supporting him in the marketing of it, and they divorced. Is she able to continue her career having taken this 4-year hiatus to basically support her husband?
I would think yes, because ultimately, like as you said, I think people are looking at Loverboy as like a failed business, but I don't think of Loverboy as a failed business. I think it actually was a pretty successful business. And I mean, again, you're talking about the valuation of the company, right? The company is still valued at, again, I don't know what it's valued at, but let's just say $10 million, right? Whatever, okay? Like, that's still a very successful business, you know?
Yeah,
I mean, they were in all kinds of stores, sold all over the US, like,
still
pretty
are.
sure they're like in Target or whatever. Like, that's a big deal. So I would look at that as like actually a pretty successful company. And I think she took a chance. You know what I mean? Like she also wanted to do something that was hers, and not, I know that technically Loverboy it's Kyle's, but as you mentioned before, she obviously had some kind of equity, some kind of stake in the business. Like, let's be real. Like, there was no way she was doing that for free. So, I mean, I think that actually it was a cool thing for her to do. And if I were a company looking at that, I'd be like, wow, you took this brand and you totally turned it around and you made like the signage really cool. You made merch, like you did all this stuff. Like, that's impressive. And like she designed all of that. And
Yeah.
now she has her bathing suit line. So, you know, I think she's going to be
Well,
fine in terms of her career.
yeah, I'm not worried about her. I do think the dissolution of it is going to be messy, but I'm not worried about her per se. And I think she's going to have to pay a whole bunch of lawyers, and that's why she should have gotten a prenup, which she will tell you she should have gotten as well. But not to be on that soapbox. What I find most fascinating about this situation, circling back to Kyle as a DJ, you've got a
Ugh.
business, Loverboy, right? Why are you not doubling down on this company that you've forced in everyone's hands at every summer house party? Like, why are we picking a new career now? You have a business and it's not a solid bet. Why are we not
Yeah.
doubling down on the business that you made us all, not us, but you want us to all
Viewers. Yeah.
support, right? Like you got
Yeah.
us all to believe in it. And now you're like, okay, cool. Well, I guess someone's handling. Who's handling it? Who's the CFO of Loverboy right now? Who's the CEO?
I,
Who's responsible while Kyle's playing in Marquee?
I have no idea. I honestly have no idea. I mean, the whole DJ thing to me, like I said, I think is just really like, it was really a cry for help. It was him trying to find an outlet to maybe not spend time at home, to maybe
He
not
wanted
deal
attention.
with, he what?
I think he wanted attention. I think he needs
Yeah,
attention.
for sure. For sure. I mean, he probably just needs his ego stroked a little bit. And it's just like, Amanda wasn't doing that for him, at least not
I don't
anymore.
fault him for that. Like truly, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. And I think when you're in a failing marriage or failing relationship for that matter, and you're coming home and the person that you love isn't giving you like those words of affirmation and isn't giving you the attention that they once did, like you're going to probably want to seek it out elsewhere. And I think that that's where DJing comes into play. And by the way, I'm not faulting Amanda for that. I wouldn't be there stroking
Right.
some guy's ego that was pissing me the hell off either. But
Coming home at 6.
yeah,
Also,
like I'd be
what's
like,
wild is like people forget that this started as a situationship.
totally. And
Like,
that was something too where I was just like, they started on very bad, it was a bad foundation to start,
well, and
Like,
pudding because he was older and she was wanting him to commit. And I've fallen into this trap where you put someone on a pedestal because they won't commit to you.
yeah,
And so suddenly they're unattainable, which makes them more desirable. And so he becomes more desirable because he's not committing and he's unattainable and she can't have him. So when he finally commits, she's like, I got him.
right.
And forgets, like, well, did I even like him? She never got to
Exactly.
start the process of, do I like him? Are we compatible? Because it was just, I'm just trying to get him to commit. And then he did. And there was also, people also don't really talk about the age gap. Not that there's a huge age gap between them, but I think there's like 8 or 9 years.
Yeah, so she's what, 33 and he's 42? But yeah,
Something
I
like
think
that. Like,
it is
there's
probably
an age
eight, nine
gap.
years. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Which,
definitely significant. And I think especially when at the age that she met him, it was even more significant,
yes. Because he had a
Um,
career at that time. I think he was in finance and like had a career and was like 35. And she's fresh out of college, like partying in the Hamptons and
yep,
trying to get this man who seems like he's got his shit together to commit to her. And then he does. And it's all figured out. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to forgive him for making out with a girl. Yeah, he's still partying because part of the reason that they worked early on was because she was still partying because she was 25. Right.
yep,
So,
yep. Nope, it's tale as old as time. I mean, it's literally, this is what happens when you meet somebody, when not even when you're young, but when you're in that party mentality, right? Like, and there's nothing wrong with being in a party mentality. The problem is that, okay, and I don't know, I heard this quote, I don't know where I heard this quote, but it's like, men marry women hoping that they won't change, women marry men hoping that they will. And that is like, this is I think what happened with Kyle and Amanda. Like when they met, they were both partying, they were both having fun, they were both young, right? And I think Amanda was like, eventually Kyle's gonna grow out of it. He's gonna get his shit
Right.
together. He's gonna want to settle down, want to move to New Jersey, have kids, the white picket fence, all that shit. What's Kyle doing at the age of 42? DJing. Okay, so
Just can't. It's like I
they
can't
don't.
with it.
But this is what people, I think, and this is what frustrates me so much about even my friends. I'm like, guys, they don't change. Like, they're not, I'm not saying that people don't evolve, like you said, over time. People obviously evolve and, like, yes, change over time, but like who they are as a person, like, you have to be okay with somebody who and
Yeah.
how they are today, right now,
Yeah.
right now.
That's
Because
their
if they,
core.
right, because if they never change, which they might not, like, you got to be cool with that, you know? And
You
so if
can't
you
be in
marry
love with potential.
somebody, yeah, no, you can't marry someone for potential. It's bullshit. And it's just like, it's one thing to believe in someone, right? And to be like, I believe that like they will be successful and like this will happen. That's great to believe in your partner. We all should believe in our partners.
Sure.
But you can't marry someone for their potential. And I just think you got to be cool with who they are today.
At their root. And I also think, and this is maybe controversial, but I also think that a man who's only dating younger, significantly 8 to 15 years younger, doesn't want to grow up. That's why he's
100%.
dating younger. If he wanted a white picket fence at 35, he'd be dating 33 to
30,
35-year-olds.
right.
You know, like he's saying that he's not ready. And so when guys consistently date younger, I'm like, that doesn't like they're not ready to commit. There's a reason they're
Totally.
doing that. They're like, oh, I don't
Totally.
have the pressure. It's like, well, pressure or not, you don't want to yet. And that's okay. But if you're the
Right.
25-year-old dating the 35-year-old, don't think you found a catch. Think you found a man who's not ready to settle down yet. And when you hit 30, he's just going to replace you with the 25-year-old. Like
Yep.
Leonardo DiCaprio, what? Like,
Yep. Yep.
sorry.
No, I completely agree. I
Uh,
completely agree. I completely agree.
mm,
Okay, so
changing
speaking of,
topics.
yeah, I was gonna say, speaking of other couples that have been in the news lately that I think will also eventually get divorced, Brooklyn Beckham
hmm
and what's her name? Nicola
Oh,
Peltz.
so people have been comparing their relationship to Harry and Meghan's with the division in the family and the British kind of cultural takes on it. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so well, I have a lot of thoughts, obviously, as usual. Um, I first of all, just straight off the bat, I think that Brooklyn totally is just like nepo baby bullshit.
Sure.
Um, I'm not saying that some of the things that he claimed aren't true or aren't valid. I'm sure like every family has issues, every family has problems. I think it is
Release the dance footage.
oh
Please, dear God.
right, like let's see the tapes. Like I want to see the dance at the wedding, right?
Like,
But
release the dance.
right. But I think especially it is notoriously known that it is hard for mothers to let go of their sons. So I hear this and I'm just like, yeah, okay. Like she probably, but at the end of the day, Nicola is an asshole. And I think like most people can say that she is an asshole. Like she fired like 3 wedding planners during their wedding. There were all these claims that Brooklyn made too, like, oh, Victoria was supposed to make the dress and pulled out at the 11th hour. Meanwhile, she had been meeting with like Armani for the last, was it Armani or Valentino?
Valentino,
Armani Valentino for the last year, right?
for a
Leading
wedding
up to
dress.
this,
Yeah, yeah.
like making this
Sorry,
dress
yeah.
for her. Like what? So like that doesn't make sense to me. Um I, I just think it comes down to like the Victoria and David obviously are British, right? And like the Brits just don't like to air their dirty laundry. I think that they're very like close-lipped. And
Sure.
I think they just thought that all these rumors would kind of die down eventually if they just like
Sure.
just ignored them, right? Brooklyn was stupid because to go on Instagram and like make this whole like public outcry about
But
this, it's
thank
like,
God he did. I needed the tea. I
well,
needed
it
the
was great.
tea.
I enjoyed reading it, but I'm just like, are you well? Like, what are
No,
you
he's
doing?
not.
What do
I
you
think
think
that
about it?
one thing that people forget is celebrity children didn't choose to be celebrities. And I think that you see that a lot in the way that they act. Oftentimes they rebel against this, against the name. I think Harry did it with the royal family. I think Brooklyn's doing it with the Beckhams. I think Northwest is doing it with the Kardashians. Like, I think a lot of them They're like, I didn't choose this. I don't know that they cognitively have that thought, but like when your entire life you've been followed by paparazzi, every question, everything you've done has been under a microscope for I understand the thought. I mean, it's a very privileged place to come from, but I understand the thought process, which is like, I didn't choose this. I didn't want this. I just want a normal life. And I don't think him marrying Nicola is ever going to give him a normal life because she's a Nepo baby in her own right. But
Yeah.
that's what he's getting at by saying, like, I don't want to be the commercial Beckham family. Like, I want to be able to make my own choices with my wife and our children. And I didn't feel like I was given that option. I felt like my mom was basically controlling the narrative because she wanted it to be presented a certain way, PR a certain way, under the Beckham name a certain way, et cetera, right? So I can understand that perspective. I think it's a very privileged young mentality because guess what? You wouldn't be having this wedding to Nicola if you weren't the kid of the Beckhams, but you know what I mean? Like you'd be a normal peasant in public school dating the normies. But I
Right.
digress. I think that I understand that like rebellious need. I find it a little bit fascinating that I did a deep dive of their astrological charts. And
Okay. You did not tell me this ahead of time. Here we go.
sorry.
I love how when we start filming, you'll just like throw these random things at me. Like, by the way, I'm like, what? Okay.
So hold please. I will tell you what I discovered because I thought this was really interesting. Basically, I was looking at Victoria and Nicola's uh, charts. And so Nicola's a Capricorn sun, which is interesting because it's like a more masculine sign. It's also a very like traditional sign. And
Mm.
so astrologically it says her sun means that she's bringing a sense of like stability and practicality to Brooklyn, valuing tradition and security. She's very loyal and very protective of family, including Brooklyn, but also this can potentially manifest in being very possessive and resistant to change.
Okay, fair.
Um,
Well,
which I see, right? So,
yeah.
anyways, Nicole, or so I looked up Victoria and it says, what will Victoria be as a mother in law to Nicola based on their sun and moon signs? And Victoria is an Aries sun, which can make her come on strong and try and take charge and can be very overwhelming to Nicola. Also, her Aquarius moon could make her a bit unpredictable. And so while Nicola may appreciate her enthusiasm, she may find her a bit unpredictable and frustrating and trying to basically control her. So it's kind of a butting of heads between two
Yeah.
very, very stubborn signs. Like
Yes.
maybe the two most stubborn signs. And
Well, I think that's what we're seeing,
meanwhile,
obviously. Makes a lot of
yeah.
sense.
Meanwhile, Brooklyn's a Pisces, which means he's an emotional little water baby who's being
Mm,
pulled this way, pulled this way, pulled this way, pulled this way, which is also why he made the Instagram post because he's an emotional little water baby. Um, I
yeah.
think so. I think that there's a couple different avenues or a couple different things that he said in his Instagram post. Like one thing is he talks about the dance.
Right.
Release the video. I want to
Right. Like,
see
let's see it.
how she was
Exactly.
inappropriately dancing, right?
Like, what was she doing? And also, she's a Spice Girl, so to make
Right.
that statement bold, like, come on.
Right. Like, was she doing splits on him? Like,
Yeah,
I mean, release the
like
video.
what are we talking about? Like she's a superstar and an icon, sir? Might I remind you?
Did she twerk on
So,
you? Like, did your mom twerk
right.
on you? Two, then there's the wedding dress shenanigans. I did think it was weird that Victoria didn't design it.
Yeah.
I don't obviously know how that all went down, but that something seems off between both stories with that.
Yeah. Yeah, something something definitely does seem fishy, but again, she's a nightmare. So apparently she's extremely difficult to work with, like makes crazy demands. I mean, apparently I guess their like PR guy quit 2 weeks ago or something like that. Everyone that she's ever worked with, she's fired, they've quit, like all of
Right.
these things because she's crazy.
She's also
And
older than him, which I just
she's
realized. She's like
yes,
6
she's
years older
five
than him.
yeah, I think 5 or 6 years older than him.
Yeah.
So he's still in his 20s and she's in his 30s. And as we talked about with Kyle and Amanda, it makes a big difference when you're
Yeah.
young. Like, it's not a big deal if someone's 30 and the other one's 35. It's a big deal if someone's 25 and someone's 30. Those are life changing, like, I feel like where I was at when I was 25 and where I was at when I was 30 are like not I don't want to say like very different places, but like mentally, like I was in a completely different headspace, you know?
I was engaged at 27. If you told me I was going to marry that man today, I'd be like, "Are you insane?" Like, I'm not. I'm a fully different human. Like,
Yeah,
fully different human.
totally. Totally.
So
So,
the third one on their list was, wait, there was the dress, the dancing, and then there was another thing that he brings up. Um oh, the name. That's what I was going to talk about. How they wanted him to sign his rights away to his name,
oh, right.
which I find really interesting from a legal perspective because so almost every celebrity trademarks their name. Like that's a very normal thing to do. Like Kim Kardashian trademarks not only Kim Kardashian, but Kim Kardashian West and KKW and every variation of her name and all her kids' names and et cetera, right? And the reasoning for this is like the big growth in athletics, NIL, name and likeness, monetary restrictions in athletics. So effectively, if, for example, I'll give you a sports analogy, if UCLA puts their star point guard on a big poster outside the stadium or arena or whatever, and then you go and you see him and you're like, oh, I want to see him play, I'm going to go to the game, and then you buy a ticket, UCLA is making money off an image of you, right? if
Okay.
sephora if Sephora puts a big poster of Kim Kardashian in their front window and implies that Kim Kardashian shops there or like she's using a blush, whatever, Sephora is basically trying to make money off using your photo, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And so that's name and likeness. And that's why you have a trademark on your name, because it basically means if you use my name, if you use, it's why there's a lot of issues right now with AI because there'll be models who AI generators will take like the model's body and put a new face on it, but they're still using the model's body, but it's not recognizable as the model. So it's like, is this still their likeness? Should they get compensated for it? There's a whole bunch
Weird.
of, yeah, it's very
Yeah.
like very dicey now. And like if you, for example, like if you use the Kim Kardashian, remember the app that was like the Sims, the Kim Kardashian
Oh,
Sims?
yes, yes, yes.
So there's like other games like that that mimic celebrities, like FIFA that does like the different soccer players or whatever. You're still using their likeness. Are they actually
Yeah.
playing the game? No, but you're using them, right? So, anyways, Victoria trademarks all of her kids' names. Very normal in the celebrity world. But she's doing this effectively so companies can't, especially when they're kids, use Brooklyn Beckham and say, Brooklyn Beckham bought these cleats, like Brooklyn Beckham,
Right.
whatever. If they use his name or his likeness, the Beckhams get money. Now, up until the age of 18, the Beckhams basically would have gotten money, not Brooklyn. Now he's an adult. He has his own ownership over his name, right? She allegedly wants to still effectively have control over the Beckham name because if he doesn't sign away his rights and he maintains ownership of his trademark for his name, then if his name was used by his wife, maybe in a way that he would agree to, but Victoria wouldn't, that money would come back to him and Victoria can't control the narrative around the Beckham name. If
Mm,
that name was used, like, say Nicola takes on Nicola Beckham, right?
right.
Now, like, it starts getting dicey. Say they
Yeah.
take out the trademark for Nicola Beckham. Say they have kids and the kids are in a photo and it says Brooklyn Beckham's kids, right? Even if they don't name the kids, they're using the Brooklyn Beckham name. Like all of that gets very messy. And basically, Victoria's saying, if you sign these rights away, basically back to the Beckham family, then I can make sure, because she's effectively their manager, I can make sure that nothing bad is said about the name, right? Like I'll control the narrative as I've done for the past however many years.
Right.
Same way the Kardashians do. But Brooklyn's like, no, that's my name.
Right.
Can control it. Like,
I see both sides to that, honestly, because I get it. He's an adult, right? And he wants obviously to be able to use his name and likeness however he sees fit, which he should
yeah.
have the right to do. However, is Brooklyn really an adult? Like, he's a man child, let's be honest. I mean,
Also, like, did he create the Beckham Empire? Is he
no, he didn't.
responsible for
He
the
didn't do
trademark
shit. I
of
don't
this
think
name?
has Homeboy ever had a job. I mean, like what he's modeled, maybe.
Wait,
I don't
full
even know.
circle, full circle. I'm pretty sure he dated Lexi Wood off Summer House.
He did. Yeah,
Okay, sorry.
right.
I just had to go full circle on that
No,
one.
we're tying this back into everything over here really today. So yeah. But it's just one of those things where like again, he is a nepo baby. He has no clue about the workforce. Like he's never had to
Yeah.
work a day in his damn life. I think maybe he's modeled like here and there, but like he's never had a real job.
No.
I
Well,
saw
he's
this
also never
whole
going to have a real job.
of course, yeah, he has no skill set. Like he doesn't I mean, I shouldn't say that. I don't know the guy, but like he's not I don't know what he can do besides look pretty, okay? And that's hey, more than a lot of people can say, but I'm
Right.
just saying like so yeah, I mean, I also heard this thing that I guess apparently they bought a 10.2 million dollar home, I think in LA,
Okay.
and they sold it. And literally there's like this quote from Nicola in I don't know what magazine it was, Vogue or Elle or like something,
Sure.
and she literally says, she was like, yeah, Brooklyn and I sold our house because, you know, we were going to be traveling. And then we were like, wait, oh my God, we actually need a place in LA because we have like all these meetings and stuff here. So, oops, our bad. We got to buy a new one. Like, literally, the quote was basically something like that. Like, not verbatim, but it was like
Sure.
it was pretty
Sure.
much pretty similar to what I just said. And I guess apparently there was this whole issue between the Peltzes and the Beckhams because the Beckhams were like, well, we're not giving you money for a new house. Like, you just sold your house.
Right.
And the Peltzes, who, again, her father is a millionaire, a billionaire, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
billionaire with a B.
Yeah.
I guess they were like, oh, the Beckhams are really cheap because they don't want to give any money to get them a new house. It's like, okay, and this just goes to
Trauma I
show,
can
like,
never understand. Sorry, I live in a different tax bracket.
obviously, same here, but it's just like, you know, the kid has no concept of money, clearly no concept of responsibility. Like they rely on their parents for everything. And luckily for Brooklyn, again, Nicola's father is a billionaire. So
Right.
like, you know, they'll be fine. But
I think that you're onto something there in that like Victoria definitely has business savvy, right? Like outside of the Spice Girls, she's created her own very legitimate fashion brand.
for
And
sure.
like nobody shits on it, right? Like it's a legitimate brand. People take it seriously. People take her seriously. David Beckham made one of the smartest decisions in soccer investing that anyone's ever made when he came over from England to the MLS. And he negotiated in his contract that he would have not only, I think he negotiated a like $25 million contract for like 5 years or whatever, but the kicker was he negotiated in his contract that he would have the rights to buy an MLS team for like $125,000 or something. And this was in like 2009, 2010, when no one really watched the MLS that much. He came over and he was the reason people started watching the MLS because he started paying for the Galaxy. He negotiates in his contract that he can buy an MLS team. He bought Inter Miami, which now is Messi's team and is like the highest grossing MLS team of any MLS teams, all because he negotiated that. The whole point that I'm getting at is the two of them are business people and have been their entire
Totally.
career and have turned their careers, not just like he's a soccer player and now he's washed up. She was a pop star and now, you know, no one cares. Like they both really transformed. They could have just been deadbeats. They've transformed it into an empire.
100%. And they continue to. They do Netflix specials and like all kinds of stuff too, which you know they're getting paid up the ass for. So I
Right.
mean, you know, I have a lot of respect for them in terms of that. And Brooklyn's just over here like, you know, I don't know what he's doing with his free time.
Having sex with
Well,
moms. Lots of moms.
being ungrateful and writing crazy shit on the internet about his parents. Like, I mean, also I will just say this, especially now that like I'm an adult and whatever. I think if I'm not saying that you should always listen to your parents, but I think if your parents are like, you know, they meet your significant other and they're like something's kind of off about that person,
Right.
don't know how I feel. There's a reason for that.
There's a
Like
reason. Yep.
there's a reason. I'm not saying like you shouldn't be with that person because again, you should do you, you should love who you love. But if your parents are literally like, this is not good, and other people in your life are like, this is not good, you might want to take a pause. You know what I mean? Take a
No,
pause.
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And I do think that that like comes back full circle to what I was saying at the beginning, which is that I do think if you're a Nepo baby, there's this like instinct to want to rebel from the family.
Yeah.
and there's this like instinct to want to like forge your own path and not not go the same route, which I get, but it also feels like a very immature instinct. It reminds me of me when I went to college and I was like, oh, you don't want me to date the bad boy? I'm going to date the bad boy. And it's like,
Of course. Yeah, we've all done that, and like
right,
we've all rebelled against our parents at some point in time. I mean, I think
right.
it's human nature. But again, at a certain age, and as you mature and as you get older, like you stop doing that shit because you realize, like, yeah, some of the stuff, not all of the stuff, but some of the stuff they were saying was right. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Full circle. I want to know what their prenup looks like because I guarantee you they have one.
they pro- honestly, I'm sure that they do, because both of them came
Yeah.
in, well, and they, if you watch the documentary about David, he says in that documentary that when he came into that marriage, Victoria was way more successful than he was. Like, she
Right.
had so much more money than he did, because
Yeah.
he was just starting out in his soccer career. I mean, he was
Right.
obviously still, a well-known soccer player and was
Sure.
obviously doing well, but she had way more money.
Sure.
It was like Taylor and Travis, right?
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
Travis obviously, millions of dollars, makes a
He'll
lot of
be
money.
fine, but we're talking,
Taylor's
yeah.
a billionaire. Different
Yeah.
situation. You know what
Right.
I mean? So that was kind of like David and Victoria back in
Yeah.
the day. Not to the same
Yeah.
degree, but you get what I'm saying. So, yeah, it's crazy. It's really, really nuts. But as of right now, personally, I'm team David and Victoria. I mean, I'm not saying that everything Brooklyn said is not true. I'm sure some of
Right.
it is, whatever. But to me, it's just seeming like, again, a case of spoiled child rebellion and not knowing just how life works, honestly. And I think we do need to keep in mind that he is still in his 20s. Like, he's what,
Right.
27, 28? Like, he's
He's the
young.
baby. He's still a baby.
Yeah.
I also, and this is what I find fascinating when things like this happen, is seeing all the other tangentially connected people come out of the woodworks. Like, what's her face, Rachel Luz, or whatever, the person who like had an
Oh,
affair with David, and like the old assistant, and like all these, like that fascinates me more than anything. So are there any people who've come out of the woodworks that you believe, or do you think they're all just clout chasing?
I think they're all just clout chasing, honestly. I mean, especially the woman that he had an affair with. It's like, go home. You know what I mean? Like him and
Also,
Victoria have
why
been
do
married.
all men cheat? Who's cheating on Victoria Beckham? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a whole other issue, but it goes back to
Beyonce,
just
Victoria Beckham, Jennifer Lopez. Like, I truly do not understand why men can't keep it in their pants. Truly.
I think that I think it is a personality like flaw. Like, it's just something where I always say, I don't want to say like once a cheater, always a cheater, because I do kind of think that him and Victoria have been happily married now for the last like 20 years or whatever. I don't think he's cheated on her again, but I don't think that's because he doesn't want to. I think that's probably
Right.
just because he knows he will get caught in one split second, especially this day and age. Yeah,
Yeah.
right, dude. Like, look at Adam Levine. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
he's
God.
that's married to a supermodel. Like,
Right.
Emrata got cheated on too. They all get cheated on.
It's mind blowing to me. It's just truly mind blowing to me that that is something that has become so normalized in our culture that men just cheat. Like, I can't quite process it. And I wonder if personally, I think they've always been doing it. And it's just now we all know because of social media and because of like cell phones and stuff. I think this
Yeah.
has been forever. And maybe we're on the decline. Maybe this is better than when we didn't know what was going on. But yeah, on that note, shall we wrap it up?
We shall. We shall. I mean, listen. I wish everyone the best. I hope that
Mostly
Brooklyn and
Amanda.
Batula.
Mostly Amanda.
Yeah, right.
Everyone else, mostly Amanda.
Mostly Amanda. I do wish her well, and I hope that she comes out of this better, stronger.
I think she's going to have her Ariana Madix era. And I'm
I think
thrilled
so
for
too,
it.
and I'm really interested to see who she does wind up dating, because that'll be fun.
Predictions?
I don't know. Everyone's saying like her and Jesse, but there's no way she'd date Jesse. I mean, I think that maybe she should have sex with him just for funsies, like just like get it in one time. But she should not date Jesse Souls.
Is there anybody in the Bravo world that you would put her with?
I would not wish that upon anyone, so I'm going to say no because I think that the men of Bravo are literally the scum of the scum of the scum of the earth. Um, yeah. What about you?
I'm just thinking in my head, can see her with what I want for her is to be with a uber masculine man, maybe for a fling, maybe for a couple months, but a man who just like throws her over his shoulder, like
Mm,
not a small little dwarf DJ degenerate.
yeah.
Like I want her to be with a man who can change a tire. I want her to be with a man who's not slinging lover boys, can actually chug a beer out of a boot. I want her to be with a
Mm,
man, like a man, not to get
yeah.
like whatever the word is, not to get like all feminine masculine on you, but I want that for her. And I'm thinking like I want like a I'll think on it. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no one super masculine in the Bravo world, but I was thinking like
Right.
traders. It's not like it's not Rob because he's too young and naive and fuckboy.
Yeah.
It's not like I somebody
You
will
know who
come.
I could see her with? That guy from Southern Charm with the mustache. What's his name? The one who's like the new
Oh,
friend, the
um,
newest friend, because he
yeah,
was engaged.
yeah,
I
but
forget his name.
Win or Wes or Weston or
Winston West. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember. But I could maybe see
or
her with
I don't
him
I
if
don't
he is a
hate.
nice guy. We need more information on
Yeah,
why like
yeah.
his engagement ended because
So someone
I
asked Sally about that. Someone was like, "Why don't any of you guys go for him? Because he seems like such a nice guy and like the most sane out of everybody." And she was like, "Oh, you guys just don't know everything about him." Which like
ooh okay
coming from
okay
Sally, who
all right good
yeah,
information to know. So maybe not him then. But
yeah,
yeah,
but like something in that vein. I want her with like a very like classically masculine man who throws her over his shoulder and just like opens every door and not a DJ booth in sight.
I agree. I completely agree. Well, on that note, here's to Amanda finding a real man.
A real good fuck for the next year.
Right, or that, or that. All right. Well,